Hey everybody, Wayland here. I've been working every weekend at the lake. You might have seen a video about that before. I prepare some food on Friday and I keep it warm. I now have a commercial food warmer, so I'll keep the hot things hot and overnight, and then bring them with me in, about noon to the lake and serve from about noon to 8 on Saturdays and noon to 7 on Sundays. But I have been busy and I had to learn to develop some sort of routine. So what I've been doing is making about 2 brisket and 2 pork butts, some hot links, and a bologna. We don't do enough business to really sell out of much of it. It's been one or two, well, a few days where I actually sold out a brisket each day. I'll bring 1 brisket on Saturday, and I do hope I run out of it and get to sell out. It's not a lot to sell out of, but I also want people to have to buy the pork and the hot links and the bologna. We also make nachos, so and they'll actually put meat and stuff on nachos or not if they don't want to. So now what I have ended up doing that works for me is something I've recorded or filmed before. And that's using my pellet cooker to start the meats. Right now I have 2 brisket and 2 butts in there. I actually started them at about 6 a.m. this morning on the cooker. What I did was I trimmed them the night before and I seasoned them. I used my favorite rub on my brisket and I used my favorite rub on my pork butts. I keep them wrapped. I keep them in a full-size tray, and I put foil on them and I put them in the fridge. And I'll even put 2 briskets on top of each other. I'll stack them seasoned. I have no qualms about it. It's actually worked just fine. And I'll set them down in the tray. And then I'll get up in the morning and start the pellet cooker at about 5:30, and then about 6 it's ready. This is the Pit Boss Competition Series vertical cooker. I put these brisket and pork butt on at 180 degrees and I let it run until I get home from work. I do live really close, so I come home at lunchtime, I eat lunch, and I'll spritz them with apple cider vinegar and water just to make sure, just to kind of hydrate a little bit, just check on them. And I refill the water pan at the bottom because that does go dry. It's probably dry now because it's been another almost 5 hours. I'm about to start my offset fire so that I can move these brisket and pork butt over to there, and then I'll start my hot links and my bologna on the real fire. Those 2 things don't take long, so I don't worry about starting them in the pellet cooker. So this process really works for me. This pellet cooker is pretty consistent and steady. This has been working really good for me. So I just kind of wanted to give highlights again about what I'm doing. Show you what my brisket and pork butt look like after, like I said, I trimmed them last night, seasoned them last night. I put them on this morning at 6, and we're actually coming up on 5. So they've been cooking for about 10 hours now on this pellet cooker at 180 degrees. Let's see what they look like. All right, looking pretty good. We'll see if I can't get a good view of this. All right, those are looking very good. I could finish these up this way, and I could probably wrap those brisket and then pork butts and finish them up to temp, and they would be amazing to serve. The one thing about pellet cookers I find though is that although they look great and will taste great, they won't have a tremendous or a lot of smoke taste. So I move them onto my offset for just a little while before I end up wrapping them and finishing them. It's very firm. I'll spritz it a little bit, put it onto the offset to get them all smoky tasting and tender. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The pork butt, again, I like to wrap them after I have a good color on them, and then after I wrap them, I'll cook them to tenderness. So this is how they look so far. Pretty cool. So I just want to get, well, then it didn't stay lit. I just want to get a good coal bed. So I burn a pretty good fire to start. Whoops. What I need to do is split some logs, but I don't actually have a second extension cord out here, and my pellet cooker's running on my other cord. So as soon as so I get the fire up and going, I'll be able to split some logs. Not bad. I'm sure this dry, really dry piece right here will help. Whoops. I always say if you've got pyro tendencies, barbecuing is for you. Whoops. I'm a maniac. Not bad. Pretty cool way to clean things up. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and let this fire roll. Get them wood to break down and be completely on fire before I start moving the meats over. It's one of the pork butts. Great color. I've actually learned to go ahead and do it fat side down in the pellet cooker because I have had this part actually stick after 9 hours of cooking. So I didn't want that to happen. And it seemed to come right off with the fat. So fat down this time. I'm gonna put it over here because that just needs to go ahead and get some smoke flavor on it. At 180 degrees in the pellet cooker, I can bet that there's that fat, great color, pull off. So I can bet this is pretty close to done if I wanted it to be. Now I'm not gonna run it at extreme high temperatures. I'm gonna try to keep it in the offset at about 250-ish until I like the color. I feel like it has a good smoke taste. Ooh. So this is pretty good. This is where the other brisket dripped down on it, so interesting color. It will darken up in the smoker. But I've actually also learned to put them fat side down. So here's gonna be my presentation side when I'm all done. I'm gonna put it up now on the smoker and wait till that gets a nice color. Here's the other one. It too was fat side down. I think I just drug it across, so a little scuffed it a little bit there. But I'm gonna get a nice smoke. I'm gonna darken up this bark a lot. You won't even notice when I'm done. Man, those are cool little meteorites, but there it is. Actually, I think I'm gonna move them pork butts back because I do need to go ahead and get a bologna. I like to put a little mustard in as a binder on the bologna. Whoops. I also didn't put that fat side up. So there we go. Fat side up. Fat side up, and I'll bring the hot links out, put them on, and I will season up a bologna. It's getting dark, and I get busy trying to mow the yard and do some other things, keep logs going. I just put one on a little bit ago. Actually, the sausages or hot links don't take long, and they get a little plump, a little darker in color, and then I go ahead and pull them off, keep them warm in the warmer at 150 degrees. These are those pork butts and brisket, so they're just getting a little darker. You could probably go too salty, but with the way the pork butt goes, man, you can't almost use too much. This is gonna be broke down, right? You're gonna really getting a lot of seasoning on the outside, but when it's all said and done, you're gonna tear this thing apart and mix all this exterior flavor in between into the pulling of the pork. When these things are done, I can literally pull them apart in my hands. I don't need tools. I literally can pinch it all, and it will just squeeze through my fingers with all the juices also. So I'm gonna wrap these individually in foil. I'm gonna put them in my oven at 350 degrees, just like this. And I'm gonna check them in about an hour and a half, an hour. Let's see. I'm just curious, but you're looking to get up to 205. I'm at 153. Let's see. There we go. 167, 168. So that was very easy to kind of poke through also already. So is this. But I'm just looking for that fat to break down, and that this will pull very, very easily. So it's pretty consistent, 160, 167, 168. Right there it's tight, so, but we're still at 150, 160, yeah. So anyways, I didn't cook it to the point on my pellet cooker to cook out all the moisture and fat. I want to actually catch that fat and moisture in this tray as it continues to break down at that 350 degrees. So anyways, since I'm gonna have it all wrapped in foil trays and foil top, I really don't need to put this back on the smoker and manage wood fire. Probably my electric oven, it's probably cheaper to run than my firewood. So anyways, basically I'll lift the foil too to probe it. I won't probe through because I'm gonna put these into my warmer afterwards. And I don't want any of the moisture to escape. I don't want to dry out resting overnight. And actually one of these will rest for two nights in that warmer. And that works for me as long as it stays above food safe temps. And I keep it at 150 degrees and it's amazing. So
anyways, what I'll do is get some footage when I'm pulling these apart. Some would say if it looks that color, it's burnt. But this is my beef brisket trims. This is actually 2 briskets worth. I'll chop the fat down into kind of small parts, and then I'll put it in a full tray like you see. I have found that my apple cider vinegar spritz, or any water of any kind, allows the butcher paper to be a little bit more, what's the word, pliable, malleable? I don't know. It folds a lot easier. These 2 pieces will actually stick together a little better to start, and then kind of get it all a little wet. Alright. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Alright. Boom. Already a little squishy. Not too bad. This part, you know, if you get them trimmed a little better, this looks like it might be a little crispy. Again, that's why the good rounded trim helps a lot. So anyways, this little piece there, maybe a little crispy, but I'll tell you what, I find a lot of people that are pretty willing to eat that part, because though it's a little crispy, like beef jerky, it's going to taste real good. So this is always the fun part, because I almost wish that this table was shaped a little bit like a bowl almost, because I kind of will get this stuff everywhere. I'm sure there's a better way, but what I'll do is just cook it here. With this extra fat added, and then I'll actually, when I go to rest it, I'll dump more of that tallow in my tray. Yeah, see, if I had got it more wet, it would be folding a little bit easier. But anyways, yeah, so I'll actually pour more of that on the paper as it rests in the tray. So, a little too much paper here. Oops, totally missed. Gotta get a trash bag. Voila, so that's a pretty standard way to do a wrap. Holds pretty good. I'm actually gonna put a meter in this now though. I don't think I've probed it once yet. I pretty much already know this is how it's gonna go, but I actually have a pretty cool Thermo Pro meter that will trying to decide how to put that. I got a pretty cool meter that will alert me when it's up to temp. So I'll just do my best to keep the fire up so that this part goes a little faster. Because we're about 9:30. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for bed. It's been a long day. I've been working my normal 40-hour-a-week job, and during the week, there's always something to be done to prepare for my second job of serving barbecue at the lake. So this is a little bit longer of a day for me if I don't get this done sooner. Nice, good color. Again, already all a little tender, but I need to get that fat rendered down. I've not really got this thing up in temperatures enough to call that fat rendered. So we'll do that. This one's a little bigger and I gave myself less paper. So we're gonna see how this goes. Nothing like having to unwrap it, put it back on the smoker, get bigger paper and start over. But well, if you've never done that before, probably not barbecue too much. Or I should say, I shouldn't be so stingy with my paper, but man, you do so much. This stuff runs out fast, and well, I can't seem to get stuff for free. I don't know about you guys, you folks. Got one more. Oh, and then yeah, that's it. I forget how many times I fold it over. I tried to get that fat back up, like so. Yeah, but yeah, and this one's bigger. It'll take longer, and I'm gonna put it closer to my door. That actually, for me, seems to be colder than the backside. So I'm gonna try to get that littler one probed. I'm gonna get it probed, and then I'm gonna start running the hot fire on 275-ish and see if I can't get these finished to 200 degrees. All right, so I am here the next day after resting this pork butt overnight. I'm ready to pull it apart. There's that there. I like to kind of tear this fat up so I can distribute it relatively easy. And you can see that. See the moisture in the meat. I've got the moisture down in the pan that I'm also going to go ahead and mix around into this meat. I wish that you could smell it. Voila, it just pulls apart so easily. I'm actually going to put this into a pan on a steam table. Whoops. Got a clean surface. Oh, that'll be the samples I take right there. So that's it. That's kind of the process. I've got pulled pork here, ready for service. We'll put it on some bread and maybe even some nachos. It'll be delicious. Let's do that close up. All right, so I had this brisket prepared. It's been in the warmer overnight in here, and what I like to do is go ahead and just get it unwrapped. Oh.
Can you grab the...
Thank you, Alice. Bring that over here by me, and I will not have to drip all over the floor. Thank you. Ooh, beautiful looking. So that's it. You can stop it. Oops, didn't cut all the way through. My bad. Well, nothing like more sample opportunities. So, real tender and juicy. Great smoke ring. Man, that's a beautiful piece. So, I'll be leaving this here in the smoky rendered fat like this, and making food from here. I've actually got an order for brisket nachos, so I'll chop this up and put it on some nachos, and it'd be so good. Ooh, squishy.
Hello.
We're actually here on the weekends at the local lake, preparing to serve barbecue. We're here from 12 to 8, but anyways, this is the brisket that I prepared for today. Tender and juicy. I keep it down in the tray, nice and warm, ready to slice up for folks to have. I like to do hot links. I've smoked them, and I keep them in water to help keep them hydrated and juicy. Smoked bologna. It's a lot better than you think. Amber, or known as yummy beans, you gotta try them. They're amazing. Green beans, seasoned of course. Bacon makes everything better. So those kind of the things we do. We'll make those sandwiches, and actually we have nacho cheese and chips on hand too, because any of those meats on nachos are really good. But so we just have a good time. This is kind of a basic menu, and kind of the simple thing that we're doing here lately. We're really interested in growing this thing bigger, thinking about a food truck, and maybe a restaurant later to go big. So, and anyways, that's a little bit about us and what we do. Thanks for watching.